So welcome back. This is date number 7 for CISG114, section 2, Web Technology and Life. This is week number 4, okay? Week number 4 with a theme. This week is on common module number 4, information literacy and competency. But we will not get into week number 4's material in this class, and indeed we need to go back to week number 3 because we spent our last class helping you to do some housekeeping. And so we need to get back to number 3 first. Now, I will come back to the class regarding the pairing that we've done so far. And I'll come back to this class regarding the submissions of the assignment by the end of this week, okay? But first of all, let's get back to the business of this week, last week. So we're supposed to introduce to you the idea of corporate social responsibility last week, okay? The CSR concept. Now, CSR is a very interesting concept. It's something about how a particular enterprise or company generate revenue. And there is a very interesting jargon for CSR that is good business for good society. So let's try to look at the context of CSR from the perspective of Macau. Well, Macau has been a gambling city, okay? But Macau did have some kind of productions industry from the 60 to the 80, and actually from the 50 to the 80. But the gambling industry is still a very large industry in Macau. But let's take a look at the casino business. Now there is this company called STDM, which was, and actually it's set up by Dr. Stanley Ho back in the 60s, and until 2002, okay? The only company in Macau licensed to do gambling. And one of the obligations of this company, stated by the Macau government's regulation, is it should do something good for this small area, for the people of this area. And one of the big examples that this company did for Macau is they had a fleet of about 23 dredges. You know what a dredge is? They dredged on the ocean floor every day to make sure the navigation path from Macau to Hong Kong is deep enough for the jet foil to go through. Because we're somewhere in the pure river delta. A lot of the mud comes through the rivers, okay? And then if the dredges are not functioning every day, the jet foils cannot come from Hong Kong to Macau easily. And so there's an example of the social responsibility fulfilled by, welcome back, the company. But today, when we talk about CSR, it's about a different concept. Okay, the different concept represents a very interesting perspective ever since back in the 1970s of the last century. So let me introduce to you this concept at this point, all right? One of the key words presented by the concept of CSR is sustainable development. Well, and then we try to put into the picture what those companies are doing in Macau, okay? So corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility. Are you familiar with the term corporate social responsibility? It all started back in the 70s. The Club of Rome, a group of scholars, thinkers, executives, economists, and others who took on the task of laying out the future of industrial growth, invented the concept of sustainable development. Ah, sustainable development. Does that ring a bell? At a time when resources are becoming more scarce and the population is growing, the challenge now facing people, governments, and businesses, all of us in fact, is to find the most sustainable forms of growth possible. And today, the trend is unstoppable. 1972, the Stockholm Earth Summit set out a wide-ranging plan for international action to fight pollution. 20 years later, the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit defined economic progress, social justice, and environmental protection as the 3 pillars of regional sustainable development. The basis for action by the business world in support of local communities was established. And all over the world, businesses have opened their doors to partnerships with local residents. They are investing money and taking initiatives in conducting and coordinating community support programs in the field and becoming a trusted partner in the process. Such businesses have put social responsibility at the heart of their strategy. Today, every company is asking itself, what practical steps can we take to improve the day-to-day lives of local residents? From a social standpoint, the company can work in each community to address local aspirations, assist with training, create local jobs, and give support to associations that are working towards the public good. In terms of economic development, the company can help develop a local skills network. By making its expertise or training resources available to local businesses, it can create a win-win strategy that promotes the local economy and yields access to valuable expertise. Finally, with regard to the environment, its task is to ensure that, as often as possible, its business activities take into account the need to protect and enhance local ecosystems. In addition to reducing its air, water, and soil emissions, the company can work with its employees to set up volunteer activities or take action to clean rivers, transform vacant lots into vegetable gardens, encourage reforestation, and teach school children about recycling. There's no limit to the steps that can be taken. With Alstom, local communities can count on CSR every step of the way. Take South Africa, for instance, where Alstom has been operating for over a century. This immense country has a truly critical need for economic and social development. Education is moving forwards with Alstom. In South Africa, access to knowledge is key to development. For Alstom, helping people broaden their knowledge means on a daily level providing access to vocational training, offering internships, career development programs, creating an academic chair in clean energy, granting scholarships, and more. But it also takes the form of a partnership with the Maths Center, an organization that works to improve conditions for maths and science education in schools. Economic development is always a priority with Alstom. In South Africa, Alstom is strengthening local industry by helping to improve the skills of craftsmen and engineers in the energy sector. To date, 650 craftsmen and 175 engineers and technicians have received training. The result is that a new network of qualified subcontractors is emerging, able to meet Alstom's needs and those of the energy sector as a whole. And finally, with Alstom, the world has a partner in preserving the environment. Alstom is conducting projects in South Africa that are educating and training communities in ways that preserve their natural heritage. These projects include the development of environment classes. When children learn how to create a vegetable patch, recover waste, collect rainwater, and so on, the school becomes a means of conveying how important the environment is for their living conditions, and helps students carry that message to the rest of their family. These and many other initiatives are encouraged by proactive laws passed by local authorities. Through its actions, Alstom aims to contribute to social progress and environmental preservation by providing technological solutions that meet energy and transport needs. The group is assuming its responsibility with regard to its neighbors in the community.
Okay, now we have already spent 5 minutes time understanding the concept of corporate social responsibility from the example of Astra. It's a company. It's a company that developed itself in a specific regions of the world, including South Africa. So let's take a look at Macau. Macau back into the 1960s is still a very small city. Okay? Macau does not have a lot of industry. It's not considered as a very prosperous area. No one knows Macau at all. And then here came the company from STDM, the company set up by Dr. Stanley Hall, a gambling business, but they call it a tourism and development company. And what it brought to Macau? Do you remember anything that is brought to Macau by this company? Including the cultural center that we enjoying today, we watch shows there, including the bridge, some of the bridge, including the piers, the Hong Kong Macau terminals. So that company actually brought some social progress in Macau. And actually, we also spend enough money in educations, higher education, and also secondary education. Now, let's put things together. What have you learned from the short video on corporate social responsibility using Astra as an example? The keyword which I mentioned before you watch the video is sustainable development. Sustainable development in what sense? Okay, now think about this context. Okay, corporate social responsibility. At the beginning, when I try to use STDM as an example, I use the example of the dredges, the fleet of dredges, the boats, the dredge on the floor of the oceans to make sure it's deep enough for the jet buoys and the large ferry to go through, to go from where? Macau to Hong Kong, Hong Kong to Macau. For what purpose? In order for the ships to go through this channel, okay, they need to dredge deep enough. Why do we need to do that? Because people have to come to Macau to Hong Kong, and by boat is an important means. We need to dredge to make sure the path is clear enough for the boat to go through. Every day, still today, you can see fleets of dredges. Dredges on the ocean floor from Macau through the Lantau Island and to Hong Kong. This area, that is the beginning, or we're going to say the parallel delta rivers, a lot of months will come there every day, okay? Because from the river basins, they have a lot of mud accumulated. So, corporate social responsibility doesn't mean that a company does something like this is an example of corporate social responsibility. Why do we need to study this? Oh, if you do not understand how to make connections, allow me to give you some typical example. If I want a business, okay, if my business is to produce milk powder for babies, okay, and in order to produce a lot of good milk powder for baby, I need to do a lot of different things, okay. Now the milk powder produced in Japan, the milk powder produced in Sweden, they are reliable products because we've got the ingredients. We know the chain from which the ingredient comes from. But inside China, the picture might be different. You have the key term in Cantonese called San Lok Ching On. You heard about this? You heard about this? San Lok Ching On means a kind of chemical which will produce, in a sense, like a protein for the babies to use inside the milk powder. But the harmful effect of this is the baby will never get the ingredients, the nutrients to feed themselves. Instead, it will become bloating. And they hurt the kids so much. Many babies in China, because of the poor ethics upheld by many businesses producing the so-called powder, okay, many babies suffer and die. And so the consequences, many mainland people who come to Hong Kong and Macau and buy our milk powder and bring it back. Why? Because they do not trust the milk powder productions inside mainland China. They trust the milk powder productions from countries like European countries, Japan. Okay, is it examples of corporate social responsibility? If I want a business that is going to make profit, earn our revenue from the product we sell, but the product we sell by itself or by themselves have problems, I would say I'm not doing corporate social responsibility. I'm exploiting everything that I could in order to earn the profit. Then the company do not know what extent this is on, because it never sustains its revenue generations. Okay, another example. Have you heard about the Cantonese name Hongzhe Settle? Do you know what this chemical is? What we people, Chinese people particularly, Cantonese people, love to eat ocean fish. Okay, we love to eat a lot of ocean fish, deep water fish. Okay, we love to buy very expensive deep water fish, and we cook it in such a way we love to steam. And then many people, instead of go to the oceans to catch those fish, they use the fish pond to grow this fish. Okay? In order to make the fish look better, they add the Hongzhe sediment into the pond where they have fish growing. What the chemical can do for the fish is make the fish look very much alive, shiny, and bold. But the point is, it's good to look, but when we take it, eat the fish fresh, we're taking a chemical into our human body, and eventually that is cancer inducement that will cause cancer in our body. Another examples. Do you think those people who produce this kind of fish will sell every day large number quantity? Understand the meaning of corporate social responsibility? Is it going to be a sustainable business? Finally, one of the very famous examples just months ago is called a day Kaoyang. Okay, you heard about this day Kaoyang. It's that oil, eating oil, actually is not supposed for consumption. But you produce like dredgings of the drainage pipe, whatever they have, and go through a chemical process that refine, extract the ingredient, and look very much like oil. The purpose of doing that is they do not need to spend money to generate an ingredient for something good. They use the rubbish stuff to do things like this. But in one sense, they're very genius. They understand how to produce something like this. Or in another way, they actually poison people. And if a countries do not have any standard or regulations to regulate those companies to do something like this, it never sustain. So, do they understand the meaning of corporate social responsibility? Okay, now having said that, I will set up a discussion right in the Buddha environment so that you can engage in discussions after class. Now let's take a look at corporate social responsibility from a much more broader perspective, which includes a couple points, okay? So watch and learn.
Layoffs and record profits at the same time, manager salaries, scarcity of natural resources, and uncommon catastrophes, morally questionable advertising, child labor, corporate fraud, financial crisis, and the Occupy Wall Street movement. These are just a few examples you may have heard about under the topic of sustainability, business ethics, or corporate social responsibility. These themes raise questions about justice for current as well as for future generations. We want to ask, corporate social responsibility, CSR for short, what is this? This man made headlines a few years ago. In 2004, Angelo Galotti learned from investigators that he was chairman of the board of several companies set up by his employer, the Italian milk concern Parmalat. Angelo, however, had not even heard of those companies, and Parmalat was only responsible for the switchboard. You can imagine how the story goes. Corporate fraud at its best, bogus companies, cooking the books, bribery, accounts of the Cayman Islands, the whole works. The task of corporate social responsibility is to prevent these and other morally reprehensible practices which can weaken society, damage companies, and hurt employees. More and more companies have realized the relevance of moral practices in their businesses, even though they have not always sufficiently implemented CSR yet. Concrete preventative measures are often labeled risk management, a term more commonly used for avoiding financial risks and damage to a company's reputation. No one likes bad press, right? Thus, companies define clear rules, so-called compliance or value management systems. For example, you can accept a bottle of wine from the supplier, but you have to pass up a golfing trip to Hawaii. However, risk Risk and compliance management are only one aspect of corporate responsibility correctly understood. Firstly, CSR is not just about preventing bad practices, like corruption and fraud and so on. Secondly, this approach does not question a company's business activities as such. In fact, compliance management could be an efficient control mechanism even in organizations like the mafia. The more challenging question is, how can companies contribute to a good society through good business practices? Oh, that's easy, they say. We'll create a charity foundation or donate a lot of money and thus do good. Wrong. That won't hurt and may even help, but it's not systemic change. The important thing is, CSR is about how companies make profits, not about how they spend them. Corporate social responsibility must not simply be the repair center of capitalism. It has to demand systemic change in a market economy. This requires a new role for the key players in this game. Companies must become not only economic, but also moral actors. What's required and important is a stronger integrative perspective based on a system of deontological values and which is closely related to the company's core business. This means social and ecological criteria must be taken into consideration. For example, in the treatment of employees, organization of the production process, offered and produced products and services, and responsible business practices of suppliers, the so-called supply chain. By the way, virtuous managers or the honorable merchant alone will not suffice. We need employees of integrity at all levels of the company, but we also need organizational structures and clear rules. But relying on a code of conduct is also short-sighted because in extreme cases, it means act according to some given rules, which is the opposite of ethical reflection, namely actual thinking about good and evil, right and wrong. In other words, CSR is always about both individuals and institutional structure. In business ethics, one speaks of individual ethics and institutional ethics. But isn't that unrealistic? Shouldn't the state do more to promote a good and fair society? Granted, it is unrealistic, and that's exactly why such questions are important. Business ethicists don't just ask what the world is like, but also what it should be like, how it ought to be. At the very least, we want to suggest where the journey should lead. At the same time, we want to make practical suggestions about how to embark on that journey. One speaks of questions of justification on the one hand and of implementation on the other, preferably in that order. The state, particularly through politics and law, can contribute to the implementation of corporate responsibility, but only within a limited range. If we look at society from a bird's eye view, we can spot different social systems. The economic system, the political system, the justice system, for example. One can speak of the functionally differentiated society we live in. About 60 or 70 years ago, some German economists came up with an idea that led to the development of the social market economy as we know it, particularly in Europe. The thought that a market economy should be embedded in a political framework that determines the rules of the game. This underlying idea is still important, but it has become distinctly more difficult to rely on the state alone. Societal differentiation has progressed because most systems have internationalized. Globalization is the magic word that applies to most systems, but not all of them. Politics, and particularly law, tend to be bound to one country's borders, while the economy, above all, is highly internationalized and globalized. This makes effective regulation difficult. Thus, it is now not only about the classic rules of the game, but also about the moves of the players, the corporations, in a changed and changing world. And beyond politics and law, civil society, in particular NGOs, have gained a strong influence in the economy, as both vicious watchdogs and as partners of business. In the society of the 21st century, we find new, rather odd hybrid constructs under the notion of soft laws. These are collective individual commitments to comply with certain social and ecological standards, such as collective industry agreements or the UN Global Compact. So companies are supposed to operate responsibly. Is anything really happening? There is no clear answer to that question. The cynics say that CSR is like teenage sex. Everybody says they are doing it, but few actually are. and those who really do it rather badly. The truth is more nuanced, of course. In the area of corporate responsibility, there is also the good, the bad, and the really ugly. More and more companies deal with CSR and take the first steps towards responsible business practices. We can definitely observe a distinct effort, even though it is still a delicate little plant. And of course, there are still those who misconstrue CSR as a PR instrument and simply want to greenwash or bluewash their company. And unfortunately, there are still companies that don't give a damn about questions of corporate responsibility and which even trample on justice. Got all that? Let's sum it up. First, CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. Second, CSR is based on the question of good business for a good society, today and tomorrow. Third, corporate social responsibility is not charity. It is about how companies earn their profits, not how they spend them. Fourth, it takes employees of integrity and appropriate organizational structures to realize CSR. It is a matter of individual and institutional ethics. Fifth, politics continue to play an important role. But in a globalized world, the effects of regulation can be limited. And thus, sixth, companies play an increasingly important role. Seventh, soft laws are new governance mechanisms based on companies' self-commitment. Finally, CSR has arrived in business practice. It is necessary to support these developments professionally, but also to provide critical perspectives with respect to them. Research on issues of corporate responsibility is still beginning, and future developments will be exciting to see. It is unclear whether a good and fair society can be created with the help of companies, but it can be created without them. Oh, we almost forgot. Besides corporate responsibility, there is also consumer responsibility. You can practice that the next time you go shopping. And there may be more from us on that topic.
Okay, with this particular video being set in stage for your discussions, I hope you spend some time now, 5 minutes, talking to your learning partner. And I see 3 persons at the table. That means somehow you got an extra person who might not be your peer. Now, I'm going to help you get in touch with one another. First of all, let me boost 5 minutes to each one of you, each pair of you, so that you can put things in perspective. Talk to your learning partner what you get after this morning's specific introductions of corporate social responsibility, with examples from Macau, with examples from this area, and the keyword is sustainable development, and the keyword is good business for good society. And the keyword is not to spend the income for something good, but the way to generate revenue must be in a good practice. I think it's very interesting, exciting. You know, in Macau and Hong Kong, we do have something called the Anti-Corruption Agency of the Macau government. In Hong Kong, you say ICAC, Macau is CACC, I think in Portuguese. And then, doesn't have anything to do with corporate social responsibility. And that's the government have a clear role to play to help this CSR upheld by different companies. Now, you can start talking about this in about 5 minutes. May I just have a glance? How many pairs are here? You're one pair, right? Yes. Okay. Which 2 of you are one pair? It's 2. So do you have a pair yet? Okay, good. You are a pair, right? You are a pair here. Okay, the 2 of you, which 2 of you from this table is one pair? It's 2. Do you have a pair? Okay. So, very good. You still don't need a pair, right? You still need a pair. You're one pair, right? Now, my job is this. I know that at least one of these 4 students will not be coming, and they will not quite understand. So the three of you to form one pair, okay? Because if just two of you, the remaining one, have to find an extra pair to join. So may I invite the three of you to sit together, perhaps at a table, like, yeah. You might come here, the three of you, okay? So it's very important, yes, they need to talk together. We need to form pairs, okay? Can you come here? May I invite the three of you to sit here so that you can have conversations about the pairing, all right? In a minute, I'm going to show you the very important things. Now, you can start talking to the rest of your peers because you need to talk about the CSR, okay? And for this table, let me John for giving you some basics, okay? That you know that we need to have pairs of students to work together because in your homework or assignment, it must be done with more than one student. But the first one is done by two persons in a pair. But the second one is done by two pairs joined together. It happens that now we need all the number of students in this class. So instead of two persons in this way, you have three. Okay? And you might know this is Joanna. Okay? It's the first time Joanna here in this semester. This student has been here for 2 weeks or 3 weeks already. And your name, Long, and your name, John. So the three of you need to talk together. Now, my job now is to go through, okay, the teacher's message of this week. Now, I hope you understand, Joanne. This website is very important for our course. It's a new Moodle environment for this course. You have to learn how to get online. So with your notebook, with your mobile device, every time when we start the class, I invite students to come online and start doing responses on the discussion thread of last class. I often ask the question, what have you learned from last class? And I will give some pointer, and then whatever you learn, you just press with my type of response, just not default, okay? So this is something like this. And the syllabus of this class is already there on the very first block. Now you watch, okay? The syllabus of this class is from the header block. You can click on this and you know the syllabus, okay? And the same syllabus could also be accessed from day one's information. You can see under day one we have a number of links here, okay? And now our concern is the submission because it's the first submission due by the end of this weekend, okay? So if you click on the submissions, you know that we have 3 submissions this semester, okay? And this submission is on this week, okay, week number 4, okay? So if you want to know what to do in the specific first assignment and what to submit, you need to click on this link. And this is the number of items. Each student need to submit one journal based on one topic of interest selected. And altogether, for the 4 weeks, we have 9 topics, okay? And so we just need to select one out of 9 topics to prepare a journal, okay? And the second thing is once you select a topic, you need to get your journal ready to discuss with partners of your peer. Now you have 2. You do not need to discuss with 2 of them, just one will be good enough. Your topic, remember. They will have their own topic to discuss with you, okay? So your job is, whenever there is a partner in your peer who needs your help to discuss the topic, you need to get engaged. And the way to discuss the topic, after you post your journal online, is to use the forum to discuss a written record. And so, this is the written records of your discussions. The third one is, once you finish discussing the topic with the journal, you've got the journal material discussion detail, you're ready to write a report of your topic. You need to write it on your own for your topic. Each member in your pair need to write the report on their own for their topic. And then when each member in the pair finishes writing a topic, you put them together, and that's the report. Normally, for a 2-person pair, the report should not be more than 10 pages, because normally 4 pages per topic. But if you have 3 persons in your pair, since each person needs to produce 1 topic, so I will give you at most 15 pages. Okay? So the cover page, the title page will not be top. But each topic for each member again assume 4 to 5 pages, A4 pages. Okay, so 10-point form and 9-point form. Okay, so that is the report. If you want to know the guidelines for the report, click on the guideline. You can see the format. I'm going to show it to you. All right. So this is the guidelines. The rest of the PIPs continue to discuss about yourself, about the CSR topic, why I'm getting update to the students here. So this is the report format. Okay. So now, when we expect you to write a journal, we expect you to exercise what we call inquiry-based learning, IBL. And the way to do inquiry-based learning is to do an OIA process: observations, interpretations, and applications. Okay, let me show you the specific on that. Now, so if you look at the website, we have the submission link for you immediately after week. This is week number 4. Okay. Now, for each week we have a block. So this is week number 1's block in the motor environment. We have 2 days, day 1, day 2. Week number 2, we have 2 days, day 3, day 4. Oh, the day 4 is a holiday. Okay. And then week number 3, we have day 5, day 6. We just finished it last week. Now this is the beginning of week number 4. Okay, we have day 7, day 8. Today we're supposed to be talking something about this, but we delay it because last time we talked about with the whole class about the requirements for the assignments. Okay, so at the end of week number 4, you see the submission links here. Then you use the submission link to submit your work. In the first set of artifacts you need to prepare include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different artifacts. When you submit your artifacts, you must submit it in the form of Microsoft Word document. But when you do the journal, you do it online. When you do the discussion forum, you do it online. Online means using the Moodle environment. Okay? Now let me show you how. So when you do the journal, since we have altogether 9 topics for the 4 weeks. We have 2 topics in the first week, 2 topics in the second week, 3 topics in the third week, and another 2 topics in the 4th week. So altogether 9 topics. Well, when we talk about a topic, it's actually a question. When you write a journal, you select the topic, that means you select questions to write the journal. Okay? The way what we mean by a journal means take notes. Okay, let me show you how. It's more than that. Okay, let me show you in this form. Okay, now let's go to week number 1. So let's start from week number 1. In every week, you have a reading list. Okay, so week number 1, you have a reading for week 1. In week number 2, you have a reading list for week number 2. Okay, okay. So let me go to week number 1, the reading list. Okay, so when you click on this reading list, you will see that we have 2 questions here. That means 2 topics. Okay? 2 topics. So week number 1, we would like you to investigate 2 essential questions. For example, what is web technology and its impact in life? The other is what is information privacy? Now, at the end of each week, it is our expectation, but it's not a homework, okay, that you should, at the end of each week, pick one of these questions and investigate it on your own. The way to investigate is something like this. We provide you with a number of resources underneath each question. And your job is to select at least one source out of these number of resources and look into the sources and dig out some notes. Okay? The way we invite you to extract notes from those sources is what we call the inquiry-based method of OIA, observations, interpretations, and applications. Observation means when you look into any of these sources, if you read those information, you believe those information are good, you just need to do copy and paste into your notebook. Okay? But interpretation means after you have done enough of the copy and paste of those source material, you ask a number of questions, which is going to make sense of those information for you. Okay? So interpretation means ask enough number of questions so that you can question into your finding. Purpose? In order to find some possible answer to these questions. Okay? You have to exercise your own thinking, organization's ability. We call it a little bit closer to critical thinking. Okay, that we invite you to go through the OIA process to discover what you can discover for the answer of this question or this question based on the source you selected. And that is the second step of OIA, interpretation. So when you've done enough of the interpretations, the next possible thing to do is to ask, what is the application of those material? And that is when you need to ask for what lessons can I learn from this? Okay, the A represents lessons learned from the discovery of information from one of those sources in response to your effort to find the answer to a specific question. Okay, that is what we call the journal. The journal does not need to be written in prose style form, but it could be done in what we call bullet point forms. Okay, but you must cite the sources. At the end of using one source, your job is to make sure you provide two more relevant sources so that you can continue to find good information to answer questions like this. Now, where are you going to find the extra two sources? You can use any two from this, or you can Google on your own, or even from the library. So that is what we call a journal. Now, where are you going to do the journal? So this is the website, okay? This is the website. At the end of each week, you see there is something called tools to keep track of your learning, because this is week number 1. At the end of week number 1, you have an electronic journals like this, okay? Your job is this. If you choose a topic which comes from week number 1's reading list, use the journal in week number 1 to carry your material. If you choose a topic which comes from week number 2's reading list, you use the journal from week number 2, because every week we have a journal, okay? So if you look at this one, oh, sorry. This is week number 2, you still have another journal, okay? So many students ask me, where should I put our online material for the journal? The answer is very simple. It depends on which topic you choose from which reading list. If you choose a topic from week number 2's reading list, you use the personal online learning journal in week number 2. Okay? Because at the end of each week, we have some set of tools like this. Okay? So it's just like as many resources provided for your convenience in recording your learning. So you understand that. You just need to submit the journal for one topic out of the 9 possible topics in the first 4 weeks, which comes from the 4 reading lists. Okay? In the first week's reading list, you have 2 questions. In the second week's reading list, you have 2 questions. In the third week's reading list, you have 3 questions. In the fourth week's reading list, you have another 2 questions. So, in order to prepare the learning artifacts for your first learning contract, or what we call first assignment, you just need one topic, that is one question, out of this 9. So it depends on which week's topic you choose. If you have chosen a topic from the second week's reading list, my answer is use the personal online learning journal that is for week number 2. Okay? If you choose a topic which comes from week number 3, you use the personal online learning journal for week number 3. Okay? So that is how we solve the problem where you store your online learning material. But the next question is, how can I submit my journal once I have finished writing it here? Okay? The answer is very simple. I answered it last time. You go back to your online journals, like this one. Say I go back to my online journals week number 1. Okay? So some of you have already done this. Okay, I given an examples here. Okay, suppose this is my online learning journals. I just need to copy and paste this. I do a copy and paste. And I do a paste into the Microsoft Word, open up the new document, and I paste it here. And then I save this document, and I call this, let's say, my learning journal, something like this. Yes. And then you submit this document through the submission link. Okay? You understand that? That is how we manage. We do something online using the Moodle environment, but when it's time to collect the artifacts for submissions, we copy and paste into a Microsoft Word document and we submit the Microsoft Word document. Okay? So far so good, right? So what about discussion? Okay, the discussions, as I mentioned last time, after you've done your journals, you move your journals into the discussion space, which is on week number 3. That is the pair discussion space. On week number 3, starting from last week, we start with pairs. So we have given you a pair online discussion forum in week number 3. So here I make an example. Okay, not this one, and again this one, for example. I set up a discussion link. For example, I'm John. Okay, for example, I'm John. So I set up my discussions with my learning partner, and my question is, what is web technology's impact in life? And I say, Mary is my partner. I say, Mary, please help me back to my questions here. Here is my journal. So your job, when you see your partners post something like this, is to do a response. Okay? And the way to do it, as you can see last time, when you click on this reply to provide your response, suppose I'm Mary, I click on this, I say, thanks John, my comment follows, something like this. And if I'm John, I will click on the reply again to feed back to Mary. And this is what we call a discussion forum. At the end of your discussion forum, you need to copy and paste your discussion forum details into another Microsoft Word document and submit that Microsoft Word document as your forum discussion detail. That is another artifact for submissions, okay? So, you see that? That's the reasons why we have submissions link here. So when you copy and paste this, okay? When you copy and paste this into the Microsoft Word document, you say, I'm going to have a new one. So you can save it again in your computer, like this, and you can submit it, all right? So the first thing you need to be aware of is your report. Okay, now let's go back here. Here is the submission links on week number 4. Okay, after week number 4, you have the submission link. The first submission link is for your journal. The second is for the discussion detail. The third is for your report. Now, I have not set up a mechanisms which will enable the 2 or 3 of you to do online your report yet. We will do it in the next learning contract. So this time, you do it on Microsoft Word. You share the file with your friend's Microsoft Word, and then he or she can edit it, and you merge the 2 topics discussions together, and then we become your report. And the format, it follows with the report guidelines here. Okay, I just showed you. Here's the report guidelines. Okay, so if you have 2 topics, I should be able to see 2 topics OIA, each topic indexed by the name of the students. If you have 3 topics here, we'll have 3 sets of OIA. Okay, that means 3 different questions because we have 3 persons. Each person's in the pair must have a different topic. That means you cannot choose the same topic. And that's what you need to have in common. All right? So this is the report guidelines. Now, having said that, what about the blog? As I said, the blog, after you've written your report, the report might have, for your personal report, to have 4 to 5 pages long, but the blog must be concise within 1 page. At most, if I remember correctly, I say not more than 1,000 words. Okay? The longest is between 300 and 500 words. But you write the blog online first. Where do you write the blog? On the Moodle environment. Here on the right-hand side of the Moodle environment, you can see that you have a block entry. You just need to do add a new entries, okay? And you publish your block to everyone. You type your block there, and then at the end you copy and paste your block into a Microsoft Word document, and you submit the Microsoft Word document again. All right? So hopefully this could help. And then after that, it's the proposal. The proposal. What is meant by proposal? A proposal is very simple. At the end of one piece of work, say you choose one topic, but you want to do some other topic. That means you just want to do some other topic. You tell us what other topic you want to do. That's why you need to present a proposal, which contains at most one A4 page, containing the following: the name of the topic, 3 essential questions on the topic, 3 relevant sources for the topic, and 1 short paragraph, not more than 200 English words. Okay, that's the proposal. And finally, is the pair meeting minutes. For example, 2 of you, 3 of you on each table. Now we talk about what can we do together, when are we going to do together, when are we going to meet face to face, when are we going to meet virtually online using the Moodle environment, how can we exchange the file. All these things, once you make decisions, follow the formats of the meeting minutes and tell what decisions you make over this week and last week, so that we know when we forgot something, when we look at the meeting minute, we know what to do. Okay? This is something very simple, but you need to do something like this to keep in touch. So these 6 things are very important, and you need to submit it, or better say, you can start submitting your work on midnight, September the 20th, this coming Sunday. And you have 2 days time to submit until 11:55, September the 21st. That means until the Monday, next Monday, okay? 11:55. Now, if you start doing the work now, you still have 1 week's time to do it, which is more than enough time. But if you don't do it, it will be a little bit sticky, okay? That is for the major submissions. Now, having said that, I think I've already repeated the same information again. For the sake of this pair, make sure you can start up quickly. All right, so now allow me to get back to the teacher's message of today. Hopefully you got something already. The teacher's message of today, every week I'm going to send our teacher's message at the beginning of the week. And the teacher's message of today is, I remind you of the pairing informations I got. Now, except for these 4 students, all the other students are paired, and these 4 students are Joanna, Norman, right? And then this is a couple, right? So, but this one, I think she was not coming because this is for computer science, and based on the regulations, she should not take this course. It will not count, so she's not coming. So we have these 3 students left, so I invite you to be 1 pair, with the exceptions of 3 persons instead of 2 persons. Okay? If you have no objections, I'm going to set you up as 1 pair. Okay? So that you can start using the pair online discussion forum. All right? Without the online pair discussion forum, it will not be convenient for you to have pair discussions. Okay? So having said that, you need to understand from this point onward, I also remind you in this teacher's message, the resources we have established over the past 3 weeks. We have a network of resources, including me providing you resources week after week. We have the syllabus, we have the support website, you have a learning partner, and then at the end of this month, you're going to find 1 team, which is going to connect 2 pairs together. Okay? So you're going to find another pair to be your team pair member. Okay? And so each team to be formed for the second learning contract must contain 2 pairs. Definitely, with the exception of this pair, which contains 3 persons. Normally, each team has 4 persons. Okay? So you need to start negotiating with other pairs so that are you willing to be my team pair? Okay? You need to do it after September the 21st. You're in learning contract number 2. So this is about the assignment I just mentioned. It's an important reminder because this is the end of the week. You are going going to submit it. The 4 important items by message. As you can see, that item 1, 2, 3, 4, the descriptions, the time, commitment, expected, and also I included assessment rubric here. Assessment rubric is very important for you to take a look at. The standard which we expect you to reach, okay? And also the criteria I'm going to use to give you a score. It's not going to be staggering. It's very important that you know that the expectations that we want you to reach, and then the productions of your artifact in the form of Microsoft Word. So these are very important. And then you have the online learning journals with the important things about why we need a journals, okay? The peer discussions, why we need to do that. These are steps in inquiry-based learning. And then the things on the report and the blog, okay? And your blog post. And finally, very important things I would like to remind you, each week we have something called the before class activity, during class activity, after class activity, end of the week activity. Make sure before the beginning of each week you have to spend time reading them all during weekend, okay? I would highly recommend that you read this before class and you know that we're doing something like this during class, okay? So this is how we structure the Moodle environment. Having said that, now let me go back to the Moodle environment. This is week number 4, okay? I would like to go one more step further today because we need to get to week number 4 on Thursday. So my job today, besides helping you to understand CSR, is also to make sure that you understand the meaning of digital divide, okay? This is for week number 6 last week. We did not talk about this last week. A digital divide, it's basically very simple. It means a division between those who have something and those who do not have something. And in the context of digital means those who have the resources to use the computer and the internet, those who have the skills to use them, from those who do not have the resources, those who do not have the skills, not even computer or internet. So what is meant by digital divide? We understand the world. We are already in a fortunate one because we can enjoy those. But the many who do not have the means to do that. So let us try to take a look at this picture. ask, when we study the digital divide phenomenon, is we do know in the world we are not always in an equal planet. There are those who have something, those who do not have that something. So the questions we ask is, how can we do something to bridge the digital divide gap? Okay? So what can you do as a student? What can we do as teachers? What can the organizations like university do? In Macau, we are fortunate enough, we do not see a lot of people who are sought out something. We have public libraries which are equipped with good computers. You can walk in and you can use them. In Hong Kong, they have something similar, but the situation in Hong Kong seems to be a little bit more complicated because in Hong Kong, there's too many families who are categorized under the poverty line. And many families with kids don't even have the means to support the kids to have a computer with internet access at home, even though it's in Hong Kong is not that expensive. So there's something the Hong Kong government have done over the past 5 years. They work together with some social enterprises. One of these is Web Organic. They help to discover families who are below the poverty line with kids going to school. They need the opportunity to go online, to learn something online. At school, they have computer, but normally when they get home, they do not have the means, they don't have computer to work the homework, and they become very much disadvantaged. So Web Organic come up with a plan which is sponsored by the government. They discover those families, they invite the family to invest $100 per month, 100, and they will give to that family, the kid, one new set of very high-end computer, be it mobile devices, be it iPad, whatever it is, together with internet access, $100 per month. And if there is anything wrong with the computer, they will change a new one for the kids. And so they solve the problem that kids from those very poor families will be given computing resources to use to do learning at home. More than that, the company, the Web Organic company, put together university students from the higher education institutes in Hong Kong, such as Hong Kong University, Chinese University in Hong Kong, Hong Kong Polytechnic University. University students like you are willing to volunteer, say, 2 to 5 hours per week to go to those companies, to go to those families in a very poor region of Hong Kong, to teach the kid how to use the computer, to go online, to look up resources, to write the homework, and also teach them to program applications like our mobile phone using very important tools. And so they generate a bunch of high school kids or even primary school kids who know the skills now, and they could go to other regions in Hong Kong to teach similar families' kids to learn something. But that is how the digital divide gap is being bridged with the support of the family, with the support of the government, with also the investment of the family, the very reasonable and affordable price of $100 per month, and free tutorial from university students, and then be a volunteer again to go out of hours. And that is a very interesting thing to help bridge the digital divide gap. At the University of Macau, we do have the program now, because all of you are supposed to be in residential college, called service learning. And I'm going to show you another episode in about 10 minutes, another service learning stuff, and then we come back to discuss it. But actually, I think, do we have enough time? It's okay. It's about how the university students in Hong Kong, particularly Hong Kong Polytechnic University, developed teachers and students together to go to bridge the university, the digital divide gap, not just in Hong Kong, but outside Hong Kong, in Southeast Asia. Let me see if we still have time. Let's go for this. If we have enough time, that will be good. That's 40 minutes. I think it's okay.
have a lot of experience about service.
I would like to make this world a better place. Like, there are lots of discontent, discord in our world, but by knowing more about each other, by stepping into each other's shoes, that you can really understand their needs, their concerns, what they want, and all this can help make, by mutual understanding, you can know more about each other and help making our world a better place, a more peaceful one.
If we want to have our younger generation more fruitful and more advancing towards and being more competitive with others, we need to do more.
But I like to think of service learning as the closest to a complete education.
It posed a great impact throughout my life, that changing my attitude and strengthen my belief in helping others, and also staying strong when we have difficulties.
After the service, I really pushed to continue my thinking about problems and other things for now.
Even the service recipients, their impact on the virtual. So it's a learning path that the students most benefit from doing those service learning things, right?
Realization, awareness, and self-development.
Find more yourself.
Service and learning together.
When you put academic components into service and let students learn about these academic components through giving service to people.
Service learning is a way to encourage students to really put their knowledge in practice. So the learning part is the most important.
Service learning offers students the unique opportunity to engage with the society and rethink the meaning of their study and their role in society. In this episode, we will follow Dr. Nai, Dr. Chang, and Dr. Un in the Service Learning Project, in which students visit and teach computing skills to children in Cambodia. Dr. Nai, Dr. Chang, and Dr. Un will also share with us their experience of teaching service learning subjects and the challenges and rewards that come with it.
Service learning is rewarding, but I do have to say it is probably the most challenging thing in terms of teaching. First challenge is from the student level. In general, whenever we bring students on these subjects, we always have students whose idea is to go on there as a cheap holiday and just to play. We find that the reflective essays have been a wonderful way in dealing with them.
These days seems a bit messy, but you guys make me know how to consider of others and make me know how to cooperate with you guys.
The reflection really helped us, and I really want to thank my supervisors and also their tutors. Yeah, they really help us because every night we have meetings and all that kind of thing that really help us, and they really do other kind of reflection with us when we went back to Hong Kong.
Giving them a lot of reflection to do, making them really think upon what they were learning, I think that actually had a very positive impact on the motivation of our students, motivating them to actually put themselves aside and actually serve and try to learn from this experience. So can you share with us about what you have learned?
You not know the result if you never try. Just in case, if I did not go to Cambodia.
In the past, I was too target-oriented, like what I would like to do, what I would like to achieve. For some of the time, I may be quite reckless towards others' needs, like the service recipients' needs. I may not care too much about their needs, but through this experience that I learned that it is important for us to step into their shoes, to know more about their abilities, their needs, and to conduct their service projects in a more effective manner.
The other challenge that I can think of immediately is in terms of the challenges in terms of knowledge that we are dealing with. Another example also comes from this summer when we actually put together a project that involved bringing our students to this orphanage that was serving HIV/AIDS positive orphans. We gave a lot of training. We gave them a lot of preparation. We had doctors coming from Prince of Wales Hospital. We had the orphanage director coming to talk about the orphans and so on. They went in there within 3 seconds. They were with the kids. They were talking with the kids. They were playing with them. They were holding them. And I think that the biggest difference was the amount of preparation that we gave them.
As one of the preparation activities, students participated in a warm-up service at a local school of special education, in which they visited and played games with a group of mentally challenged kids. At the end of the service, they were given a debriefing by Dr. Nai.
Let me just ask a question on my own, okay? Who was not comfortable at the beginning? The reason why we brought you here is because think about this environment. This is a very normal environment, right? Look at how clean the place is. I wonder how many of our classrooms in Encore are this clean. Now think about Cambodia. You are in a very different environment. I guarantee you it will be nowhere as clean as here. The kids will be something that you have not seen before. Some of the kids today, they were mentally challenged, but they were clean. Some of the kids in Cambodia will not be clean. Most of them will not be wearing shoes. You will not be wearing shoes. The environment will not be clean like this. There will be dust, there will be dirt everywhere. Right? So in a way, the reason why we brought you here is because we want to see how you will react to the challenge of being in a situation that is not exactly something that you're used to.
Well, I'm really glad that I come and be able to observe this particular project in this class. It is obvious that Professor Nai, Grace, Stephen Channing, Professor Channing had prepared them very well. The expectation of the student need to be well prepared. I think the staff themselves need to be well prepared. I think this is one lesson that I hope that at least I learned from this experience, and I certainly will try to encourage all the staff to remember that when they start designing a service learning course.
Always make the students work in a team, and as we shared just now, there are lots of problems in terms of teamwork, students working together. Throughout the process, the students actually learn how to work with each other, handle personal conflicts, handle differences of opinion, and through the process, they actually assessing each other. Sometimes you don't really need to go in and say, okay, who has been the leader? It is obvious from how they interact with each other, who has been stepping up. Sometimes we put this student in as a team leader. It turns out the other person is actually a much more effective leader. And this we can see because we work alongside them and we can see them. And the assessment sometimes is actually quite easy because it is quite very obvious.
Then so because we're a team, we need to know what happened during the conversation or is that okay?
I was just thinking about how students learn, how service learning connects to the academic discipline, and I think that one of the ways that they connect the most is that it actually lets students take whatever they were learning in the classroom and put it to real use. All of the stuff that is from pre-1 to all of a sudden starts to make sense, and that was because they actually had to understand this stuff in order to put it in place.
Most of the times in class, we lecturer only talk about some theories, and in fact we may not know how the theory works. But when we go into the real world and we work with that theories, and we find that, oh, this theory is work like that.
And in some of our other projects where we actually get students to go and teach, because we are from the Department of Computing, we ask them to go in and teach programming or something like that. And really one of the students came back and told me, said, wow, when I started preparing the lesson plans, when I started teaching, then I realized how many holes there were.
I remember in these few days I have taught my students, because I'm leaving how I taught my students about the programming. Yeah, and I really learned a lot from her, because I remember we revised the programming language because I haven't touched programming for nearly one semester. Yeah.
Through those subsequent projects, they provide the triggers, the catalysts, for students to eager to learn more, and then we can offer them more afterwards. That is true. I mean, we are not saying that all the subsequent projects can fulfill all the components of IT professional knowledge. That's not necessary. But then it serves as a way to initiate and motivate our students. That is more important. That is the purpose of education.
Those learning is to use one's intrinsic value to bring out some extrinsic force that is fair to you, that is fair for you, but is essential for others.
Service learning can help you find more yourself.
I think that doing the service learning subjects are probably, even forget the subject, even the project itself is probably one of the most demanding things that I've had to deal with. I think the biggest thing is that it's one of the most satisfying things that I've ever done. It's one of the most challenging things that I've ever done, but it's also one of the most personally satisfying things. To see the students grow, to see how to actually watch them grow over the course of one summer while they are working with the projects. I remember one summer where you see the student at the beginning of the summer and you see him at the end of the summer and you're like, wow, this kid is like two different people. And then watching them, start from being just simply participation to starting to coordinate, to starting to lead, and to start to propose projects. And towards the end of his academic studies, he was actually going out and recruiting new project staff for us. And that is just so completely amazing. And I don't know, I mean, in many ways, I see our students as, okay, they're not my kids, but they're somebody else's kids. And, I'm sure that his parents would be happy to see him learning something like this. And as his teachers, it is the duty and the responsibility that society or our job has placed upon us. But at the same time, it's also just, I mean, what could be more satisfying than actually seeing us make an impact in somebody's life? Something that visible. You could teach like a half a dozen subjects, get a really good SMQ, and still not see that. Because the students will not remember you after the subjects. But for the service learning projects, I've never had a student who went on the service learning and they could not remember me afterwards. That's not going to happen.
I think, it is important. Now I'm more convinced that, particularly for academic staff who had never done it before, I would strongly encourage those staff to take time to come out to one of the service learning courses to understand and experience what this is all about before you get into the planning, before you get into the designing of the course on your own.
I've already taken attendance of you because I count the number of students. And I believe it's a very meaningful thing. That's a response to what we can do together to bridge the digital divide gap. Okay? Now you have your residential college, also service learning. Maybe you can have good ideas. Okay, I'm going to see you back here on Thursday, and hopefully you have a very productive week because you have something to prepare for submission. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye. Because in the semester, we have 3 submissions to make. And the first submission is coming this weekend, okay? The first submission is coming this weekend. Can I just finish with that first? Okay, because otherwise I might lose the Do you understand Chinese? Kevin? 你知道我哋成個學期咧，我哋就係收3次 assignment 嘅。咁第一次 assignment 咧就係呢個 weekend 嚟教，即係星期日同埋星期一同日。呢度喺呢度你睇到咧，首先要講俾你聽，今日嘅 teachers message 已經重複咗一次㗎啦。如果你想睇平時咧，你 submission 呢度，呢個星期有3個 submission 嘅，今個星期有一個 submission。你 click 呢度就話俾你聽要交，係咪？咁呢度就係話俾人要做嘅。咁呢度放到俾人話你都想得到今星期四，當星期4個星期你已經做咗4個章到啦。完嘅時候已經做咗3個 forum discussions， 但係實際上嘅 forum 呢個即係上個禮拜所謂 expect 嘅3個一個。咁但係呢個要好你要睇嘅就係即係咁就寫嘅就第一日冇做章嘅，第二日冇做嘅時間，3個月就過去，第4日咧就根據呢個4全部嘅方就寫可能嘅第5日咧就寫手口上，即係我哋上咗呢個星期時間表面啊，呢個星期時間喺個網上去討論啊咁樣，然之後咧邊個最邊個討論呢塊呢度會聽呢個部分。因為我睇翻詳細啲啦，今日嘅 teachers message 就第4日就係 teachers message 我要重新咗一次啦。你今個星期嘅 parent 都係重新咗啦，你知係邊個？你睇下即係嘅課啦。你嘅 partner 咧就係自己啦 ，OK？ 咁你兩個就要各人揀一個 topic。咩叫 topic？ 就係我哋有4個星期，每個星期有一個 reading list。你每個星期有一個 list。咁每個 list 咧都有2個問題，呢個4個星期有問題啦。第3個星期有2個問題啦。第3個星期有3個問題，第3個問題啦。跟住第2個星期有2個問題啦。第1個星期有問題。咁即係話全部係咁嘅，但係你呢個章就真係做一條，即係你交，你今個星期交嘅唔知佢。每個星期都要交，我哋就係今個星期開始。因為嗱，你要咁講，你而家先處理咗今個星期要交嘅功課先，今個星期我哋交嘅功課咧，只需要係4個 week 嘅 reading list 做得夠，做得係咪啊？至於你話係咪每個星期做一個咧？因為你完咗 semester 嘅時候，你睇下 semester 有個分叫 learning score，你一個 learning score 係要有成12分，嗰度係根據你有冇每個星期做得，即係年尾你都要交帳㗎，每個星期都要做一條嘅，你而家唔做冇問題，我哋唔係逼你，但係你如果量攞個15分，即係成個100分嘅15分，即係你就要做啦，嗰個就係你揾到個分，但係你由而家到你semester end 咗呢段時間，但係你最好就係最好 keep 翻個時間先，因為因為你到時先太多嘢做，即係咁嗱嗰個唔講啦，因為你要自己決定啦。咁但係今個星期要交，你只係啲9要咁樣交，咁你手可以做3個。但係呢個時間你有好多，你唔係咁多時間做得晒，因為你每一條問題要點做咧，我哋就講第一條問題你搞完之後，你要寫個章，你要寫個章嘅。呢個問題下邊已經有一紮嘅 source， 你要揀一個 source， 睇晒嗰個 source， 然之後用個 source 寫啲 observations， 寫完啲 observations 之後，你就要諗 interpretation 係啲咩問題，令到你揾出嚟個就係屬於啲 notes 係有意思。咁然之後咧，你做完咗 interpretation 啲問題嘅答案，你就要去諗，如果我要揾嗰啲問題嘅答案，所以我先同你講呢樣嘢嘅時候，最終我會學到咩？成個過程啦，呢個章我哋應該做2日。唔係講笑話，你一個 topic 要做2日，呢啲嘢唔係你 做咗呢個章度之後，你要擺喺呢個章度埋貼落去你嗰個 peer discussion forum，俾你個 partner 去同你討論。咁擺喺度，你討論通常都要你大家落去傾你嗰個 observations 啊、interpretation 啊、applications 啊。因為呢啲事實上你我哋冇話術，我哋呢係自己個人探討，呢啲問題係我有興趣嘅，因為呢啲問題下面可能我哋你自己個人發展，譬如what is web technology， what is Apple technology for me as a web developer， 係啦，咁你睇嘢會揾咯，又要揾資料實況，因為成個個目的係乜嘢？你能夠用呢條問題成你去引導去探討嗰個學科嘅開始，然之後你要俾呢啲資料，你就俾用呢啲開始喺呢個 source 講嘅問題答案。但係當你再提出嚟屬於自己嘅問題嘅時候，你就要根據你自己嘅再揾其他 sources 明唔明？呢啲只係我話俾你嘅。咁但係如果你有，因為我講俾你 freedom 你哋睇呢個問題可以做一條屬於自己嘅問題。你 name 咗你自己問題之後，我唔知係咩問題，你自己先知。咁你就要再講俾你問題嘅 sources。我即係話，一係 Google 咯，一係個圖書館其他啲書，一係你睇嗰啲雜誌，呢啲咁所以咧，淨係講，所以我話你要做緊嘅咧，要定嘅就係你要因為你要準備好晒，你可以同你研究好嘅嘢，你先擺上去邊嘅時候講。一擺咗上去咧，佢就同你討論呢個，但係同樣佢要揀條屬於佢嘅問題㗎嘛，你兩個人可以揀到嘅問題，咁即係佢要擺，佢亦都要同佢有時間做嗰啲嘢擺上去。咁所以佢同你討論呢個問題嘅時候，你要同佢討論呢個，所以幾樣嘢。咁你當你做完咗個將嗰日討論，即係4日過咗啦，咁你就要做要多起碼3至4日嘅時間寫個 report。即係你嗰個 topic 你自己當時寫個 report，佢個 topic 就係將兩樣 merge 埋一齊，即係combine。明唔明啊？當然要交俾我啦，你要submit㗎啦呢度。咁但係你未交之前，你交你9月20號先交，揀你先交。你要準備個 report，你要2至3日準備個 report。咁然之後寫個 report，你就要根據個 report 嘅4個 page 啦，你要寫啦，再寫一個 summarize version， 就係呢個講。個成個 step 係呢個 research 過程，寫一個字，虛無全清嘅過程。然之後咧，到你寫個 blog 之後，你要最主要嘅嘢做晒。咁你再寫你做網上嗰張嘢，做一個深化咁就寫個網上，明唔明？咁所以幾日，你寫個 post 要1日，再跟住你寫嗰個呢啲乜嘢都要幾個鐘頭。咁其實花嘅時間夠唔夠？最後一個 topic， 對於你頭先話做晒，哇！reasonable 咯，因為你呢個唔係小學嘅功課嚟，呢個係一個 inquiry based idea， 即係一段時間去做。所以我唔係話即係頭先話 discourage 你唔可以做多兩樣嘢，咁我哋目的要做咁多。即係呢個咧，一翻出嚟做一個。但係其實我哋期望你最後定呢個題之前咧，其實已經做咗幾個章圖，最後你自己睇。因為我哋講咗翻第一日講嘅，我哋每個星期批緊人嘅講嘢。咁而家呢個只係 will number 1，或者今個星期 will number 4，我哋就明唔明嘅意思？咁如果你之前冇做過，咁我嘅設計就係我預咗80% 嘅同學冇做㗎啦。咁但係起碼呢個星期你仲有時間做。明唔明嘅意思？即係但係你每個人都要配合咯。個 meeting 咩意思就係話？你同你個 partner 傾好咗，我哋有啲咩時間可以大家坐低一齊出嚟面對面傾，有啲咩時間同網上面傾，有啲咩時間就係我哋定咗你做嘅同學呢個同學，你每遲過咩人呢個同學上，我哋有啲理嘅。嗰啲 example 嗰啲咩有晒㗎嘛？嗰啲話嘅大家有晒。呢一個定先至死咗好長嘅時間。其實就唔係多，但係咧成個過程要訓練你個 learning， 即係你個 mindset， 你知道要做嗰啲嘢時，你就俾時間出嚟啦，或者點樣咩咁。OK，咁而家我哋好，呢個 report 方面頭先講咗啦，喺呢度你 方面，呢個就個方面，即係你個唔可以有呢啲 section。裏面寫啲咩唔 credit 佢會話嘅，裏面寫啲咩？係啦，即係你個 Microsoft Word 都應該有呢啲 section。即係你個呢個就等於其實你個 table content。不過你要記住喎，呢度咧就冇話俾你聽，你有兩個 topic 咁樣做嘅時候，所以你加落去嘅時候兩個 topic 咧，喺introduction邊個邊個 topic，邊個 topic 係邊個，邊個 topic 係邊個，邊一 set 個 OIA 係邊個，邊一 set 個 OIA 係邊個，你自己都先寫清楚。因為有人喎，同埋你電腦 PS3，得唔得？
我唔係好明嗰啲步驟，又將到又。
因為其實好簡單啫，你揀一個 topic 咧，你唔係變魔術㗎嘛，你要由一步一步去做，將嗰啲等於你譬如一個記者去採訪，搜集資料，跟住你揀咗個 topic 之後，你就要喺嗰個 topic 下邊頭先講過啦，一個 source 去揾料咯。你譬如話我揀呢個 topic，我揀呢個 source，呢個 source 係咩咧？呢一集嘅嘢喎，咁呢集嘅嘢有冇關於我頭先個 source 嗰個問題嘅咧？咁樣即係叫 what is web technology and its impact in life 嘅咧？咁你就喺嗰個 source 嗰度揾，得唔得？
即係嗰個 what is web technology
就係你個引導嘅問題啦。咁就等於話，我老總而家叫你出去採訪嗰單新聞喎，咁你就係嗰啲物料啦，咁你寫低啲嘢，咁就點寫有 OIA 嘅 topic 寫啦。O 就係你揾到啲咩就擺咗落去 ，I 咧就係揾到啲嘢嘅咩意思啊，G 咧就係話我知道佢咩意思啦，我學到啲乜嘢啦。所以個過程係好緊要㗎，即係唔係小學功課求其寫兩句 copy and paste，你 copy and paste 都好容易睇到㗎。你唯一可以 copy and paste 就 observation 嗰度俾埋個 source 嘅，就呢個係一個學習過程。咁即係點樣個步驟咧？就係將到就係第一步啦，因為你要用將到咧。佢預備咗一個你可以討論嘅範疇，咁你個 partner 睇咗你嘅討論範疇就可以睇嘢。你睇我識咗個 cam 先。That's it for today's CISG114 section 2 on September the 14th, 2015. Until this first day, stay tuned.